It is a Monday edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. We got to recap everything that happened in Arizona State baseball towards the end. But first, we need to talk about Remy Martin and his continued dance through the NCAA tournament and why we should be cheering for him. Plus, Arizona State cornerback / safety transfer Khoury Bethley had some comments on his transition to Arizona State. What did he say? We're going to talk about all this on this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. Thank you guys so much for making the Locked On Sun Devils your first listen every day. Remember that this podcast is free and available on all platforms, which includes but is not limited to Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Odyssey, plus YouTube. If you want to come and see my beautiful face, go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, share, 5-star, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow me on Twitter as well at RichieBrads36. Follow the podcast while you're there as well at LO_Sun Devils. Meanwhile, this episode of the Locked On Sun Devils is brought to you by Stat Hero. Stat Hero is reshaping the way you play fantasy sports. Dozens of house-based games to play daily with no sharks, no funky props, just your skill versus the lineups you choose. Sign up today at stathero.com/lockedon. All right, guys, we got a lot to talk about today and not a lot of time. First thing is first, the NCAA March Madness tournament is going strong right now. We are headed to the Final Four, and former Arizona State star Remy Martin of the Kansas Jayhawks just so happens to be on that team that is heading to the Final Four. The number one ranked Kansas City Jayhawks, at least in their division, they will be taking on, now I need to double check because I'm going crazy. They will be taking on number 2 Villanova. It will be probably the best matchup that's left in the tournament besides when we get to the actual championship itself. This is a number 1 versus a number 2 seed. Doesn't get much better than that. Villanova, a very, very good team. They've won 2 championships in the last 10 years. Kansas continues to be a very good team, but not able to cap it off and get that win when it matters most. But I don't know. It feels like the potential is there this year for them to maybe finally put it all together. And Remy Martin has been a huge part of that. He's had 3 20-plus point games in their 4 games in the tournament so far. What is this? Yesterday, he only had 7 points against Miami, but in the previous 3 games, he had put up 20-plus. He was one of the most integral and important starters not even a starter. Let me walk that back. Remy Martin has been the 6th man for the Jayhawks, and my goodness, has he been outstanding for them. What he's been able to do for the Jayhawks has really helped propel them to where they're at. They have a great team. That's not me saying they have a bad team. Kansas, A, always has a good team. B, has a great team established around them. They wouldn't have been a number 1 seed without it. They wouldn't be in the Final Four without it. But with that being said, Remy Martin has been so important to their success and everything that they've been able to do. So major props are in order for Remy Martin here. We should all be very, very proud of him. And here's the thing, is I feel like a lot of Sun Devil fans maybe had a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth when he decided to opt to transfer from Arizona State over to the Kansas Jayhawks during the offseason after he went undrafted in the, 2021 NBA draft. Now, I understand because Martin did end his career, I believe, as the 7th all-time leading scorer in Arizona State history. He was a 4-year starter for the program, one of the most 6th all-time in scoring. One of the most important players that the franchise has had. Him and Kamani Lawrence were very, very good players for Arizona State, maybe even the best players of the Bobby Hurley era. Remy Martin absolutely left a mark on Arizona State's basketball program. I would not be shocked if he gets recognized down the road and potentially gets that jersey hung up in the rafters because of how much he had contributed to the program So because of that, I feel like some fans may be a little sour that he left, but quite honestly, I feel like Remy deserved an opportunity to compete for a championship after giving all that blood, sweat, and tears to a program that just could not get the most out of everything that they had. And Remy deserved it, quite frankly. I'm very happy for Remy. I'm not upset whatsoever with the fact that Remy Martin is not competing with the Sun Devils for a championship. And as me and Connor previously brought up, even if Remy Martin stays in Arizona State, he's not getting this opportunity, first of all, and some of the guys behind him aren't getting the opportunities. Marion Jackson might not be with Arizona State and do the damage he did. We may not see as much DJ Horn either. There's so many differences in the 2021-2022 Sun Devils team if Remy Martin stays. Instead, he goes. He gets to compete for a ring, and we get to see some young talent develop behind him. It's a win-win for Arizona State because DJ Horn looks very talented, and we're very excited for him. Meanwhile, it's so cool to see a former Sun Devil have an opportunity to win a national championship. And when it comes to national championships, I personally feel like there's no better one than basketball because of the tournament. And the reason they call it March Madness is because of the uncertainties that all these teams face and the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations and everything like that. And I'm so happy that Kansas has been able to get to this point, which is funny because typically I'm not a very big Kansas fan for one reason or another. I couldn't tell you definitively why, but I've never been the biggest Kansas fan in the world. But I am this year because of Remy Martin. And it's been so much fun to see him be perhaps the most important piece of the Jayhawks run so far. So if Sun Devil fans are looking for a reason to cheer for him outside of the fact that he's a former Sun Devil, do it because the Jayhawks might win a championship because of the high level of play that Remy Martin has been performing at. And then you get to have a humble brag and be like, hey, Jayhawks, you're welcome for sending you Remy Martin. Remy, I'm super happy for you. I hope that I speak for the behalf of the rest of the Arizona State Sun Devils pride that is hanging out in Tempe. Hopefully everybody's cheering for you. I know I certainly am. Go get that ring. That being said, let's go ahead and hop into the first break here on the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. When we return, incoming transfer corner safety defensive back Khoury Bethley was recently interviewed by the media and had some very fun things to say about the football program. What did he say? We'll talk about that in just a moment. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. I love and hate those buzzer beaters. The drama, but oh, the pain on the other side of it. What happened so far this week has just been absolutely insane. But the good news is I still have Stat Heroes NCAA single game pick'ems that pits the star players against each other in an amazing hybrid between fantasy and sports gambling. Take control back from those handicappers that always seem to take the advantage. Start focusing on players you know best with a gameplay that doesn't rely on big spreads, long odds, or funky props. Stat Hero gives you the advantage, resulting in their gamers winning 4 times more often. Why? Because Stat Hero eliminates the mystery about who or what you're going up against. In addition to their pick'em games, they also have dozens of lineups you can comb through to take on head-to-head. They simply post sets of players for you to take with a set of players you can choose. Stat Hero is the easiest and fastest way to get your sports action fix. The simple, sleek gameplay will have you playing in minutes. This is what daily fantasy is meant to be. Sign up for free right now at stathero.com/lockedon and use the promo code LOCKEDON for a 100% deposit match. That's stathero.com/lockedon with the promo code LOCKEDON for a 100% match. stathero.com/lockedon, promo code LOCKEDON. Terms and conditions do apply. And again, we thank you guys so much for making the Locked On Sun Devils your first listen every day. Remember that this podcast is free and available on all platforms. It's time that we go ahead and hop into the conversation that is Khoury Bethley. Bethley was someone that me and Connor highlighted as a player that we were very, very excited about when it came to the transfer portal for Arizona State. He was ultra productive in his final year over with the University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, which, side note, that's just the friggin' best name ever. But besides the point, ultra productive. He managed to grab 99 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 4 sacks last year. He had 7 career sacks, 7 career interceptions in 4 years, was averaging probably like in the mid 70 range tackles per season. Super duper productive. And after 4 years with the Rainbow Warriors, he has a grad transfer opportunity, comes to Arizona State in an offseason where there's a lot of uncertainty on the defense, let alone the secondary. And Bethley immediately looks to be like one of the starters for the Sun Devils. He's definitely had that opportunity so far. And it was really cool for this interview that came in on Saturday, the 26th, from Khoury Bethley, talking about his move over to Tempe. Quote from him himself: "I feel like we are all pretty much together in the defensive backs room, and we're always together with the rest of the dudes on the defense. Everybody's pretty much close here. I think it's a great brotherhood camaraderie here in that locker room, in meetings and all that. There's really no cliques or anything. So yeah, everybody who has taken me in and welcomed me with open arms." So you absolutely love to hear that this Arizona State team is taking in their transfers and really helping them to embrace everything that is Arizona State. We definitely love to see that. We love the fact that these guys are definitely buying into the culture that the Sun Devils are putting out, especially right now with all the uncertainty that's going on because of the NCAA recruiting violations during the COVID protocols and everything like that. That's just stirring up all sorts of just dark clouds over the organization. It's nice to see that transfers as talented as Khoury Bethley are coming in, and they seem to be impressed with what the program's got going on. Bethley arrived through the transfer portal, obviously, from the Mountain West. He's been an absolute monster, and he had this to say of his former coach, Todd Graham, also former head coach at Arizona State. Quote from Bethley: "I think Coach Graham did a phenomenal job coaching me. He's taught me a lot of techniques that carry over here. So I give him a lot of credit. He told me it's a great place. Tempe is a good place with great people. I love it out here. It's been a great time since I've been here. It's gone kind of fast. I've been here for 2 weeks, but I love it." Again, you love when guys are praising your organization, and it speaks volumes that Todd Graham, who was ushered out of Arizona State despite some really, really good success with the team, that he still has so much like praise for the organization. And it truly makes me happy because I feel like Todd Graham did not get nearly enough credit that he deserved during his time with the Sun Devils. He was the first coach to have back-to-back 10-win games since forever, probably the Frank Kush era. I don't have the numbers in front of me to confirm, but Todd Graham was such a good head coach. Unfortunately, it just kind of fell apart, and he definitely outcoached himself, which includes the taking the timeouts with like 3 minutes into the first quarter. Like the clock management was always insane with him. But besides the point, Todd Graham still has a lot of high praise for the Sun Devils, and that makes my tiny little heart happy and warm inside. Bethley went on to talk about adjusting to a new climate with a different culture in the locker room and everything. He had this to say. He said, "I felt like, I was once I got here because I was kind of behind the 8 ball with the team. Now I kind of feel like the transition is getting smooth. I'm picking up on the defense. I'm starting to play faster and make plays on the ball." That's exactly what we want to hear. Bethley has that turnover ability, 7 interceptions in 4 years, 7 of those interceptions in the last 3 years, 5 of those interceptions coming last year. Ball hawking ability. The dude flies the football. He's everywhere. He's in the backfield. He's making plays, all 3 levels of the defense, and he's making turnovers. So this is exactly what we want to see and we want to hear out of our brand new transfer. Now, what's really boding well for him and a lot of guys here, because there's so much new faces that are coming into this defense, especially in the secondary, is new position coach Aaron Fletcher, who, quote, giving all players in the secondary a fresh opportunity to make a new impression. Quote here from Khoury Bethley: definitely with a new position coach, it's easier to compete. Everybody's pretty much got a new resume, as Coach Herm says. Every day we go out there and we write a resume. We just go out there, have fun, and play football. Love it. And then continued on to say, I started getting first team reps. I want to say last Saturday was the first time, but we all have been rotating. Coach Fletcher is doing a great job of mixing everybody, 1s, 2s, and 3s, so that we all get comfortable with playing with each other because it's a new group. Iron sharpens iron. Couldn't have said it better myself, my friend. I think that Bethley is saying all the right things. I think he's got the talent that we need to make this transition to basically a new look defense a lot smoother. I love the upside here. I am beyond excited for Khoury Bethley in 2022. He's definitely near the top of my list, if not at the top of my list, for guys I am most intrigued to see performing this year. I love the way he's talking about the culture, and I love that it already sounds like he's adjusting to this team very, very quickly, because we're going to rely on him heavily. That being said, that's going to go ahead and wrap up the second segment of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. When we return, we got to recap the most recent week of Arizona State baseball and everything that went down there. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. Guys, I know it's that time of year. We've pretty much given up on all our New Year's resolutions, but let me tell you, I'm not giving up on mine this year because of Built Bar. If you guys haven't tried the Puffs yet, you're absolutely missing out. It's one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy and marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar, they're a treat. And of course, they're covered in 100% real chocolate, just like all Built Bars. In fact, Puffs are a fan favorite with some incredible flavors like cinnamony churro, coconut marshmallow, and banana cream pie. They're all so great. They're all going to become your favorite. If you go to built.com and scroll down to the macros chart, you'll be blown away. All of these bars are high in protein, low in calorie, high in fiber, low in carb, and you compare that to a candy bar, which has hundreds of calories, 30 plus grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. These things are all delicious. Built Bar is about the taste. They'll make it taste delicious first, figure out how to make it healthy later. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every time with flavors like mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. They're all delicious. They're all going to be your favorite flavors. Go to built.com right now and use the promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off of your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. All right, guys, it's time to recap baseball. And let me tell you, I'm not very excited about having to do so. The Sun Devils only managed to go 3-4 in a 7-game, not series, but like a week. They went 1-2 against Oregon State. They went 0-1 against GCU. They went 2-1 against Washington. And the only solace that we can take here is that winning series on the road in Washington. That's quality. We'll take it. Dropping a game to GCU is really not great. And it's okay to go 1-2 in Corvallis against the number three Oregon State Beavers. The only time you'll see them ever ranked that high. Don't let anyone know I said that. The problem is in those 3 games, you got outscored 34-5, including a game where you allowed Oregon State to hang 21 runs on you. Just unbelievable. You can't let that stuff happen. In that 7-game stretch, the main guys that we highlight all the time, looking at our starting our first four batters, I should say. You had Joe Lampe managed to go 6 of 30, so batting 200, managed 4 RBIs in 7 games. You had Sean McClain, went 5 of 28, just a little more than I'm not doing math right now. Don't make me do math. 3 RBIs, nothing special. Ethan Long, 10 of 27, still has a hot bat right now. We'll take it, 7 RBIs. And Connor Davis went 8 of 25 with 2 RBIs. Nothing too hateful there. Meanwhile, the pitching got absolutely obliterated. Adam Tulloch ended up pitching just a few innings, nothing too crazy. Gave up 10 earned runs, walked 7 guys, 2 strikeouts. Not ideal. Moving over to Jacob Walker, he pitched quite a bit better. 5 1/3 innings, 5 earned runs, 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. It compared to Tulloch, it's a lot better, but still not great. Looking at Kyle Luckham, Luckham continues to be okay, I guess. 10 2/3 innings, 10 earned runs, 3 walks to 8 strikeouts. Moving on to Tyler Meyer, he definitely had the strongest run here for Arizona State pretty convincingly. Pitched 14 innings, only gave up 3 runs, struck out 13, and only walked 2. You will take that every day that ends in Y. Finally, Will Levine only pitched 3 innings, gave up 1 run, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. On the year now, you have Adam Tulloch, let me start with the best, starting with the pitching. Will Levine now has your smallest, or not smallest, your best ERA with a 3.27. Tyler Meyer at a 3.78, and then it just drops off a cliff. Kyle Luckham down to 4.54. Tulloch has plummeted to a 6.03, and Jacob Walker sitting at a 6.75. It's been a very, very rough year for Arizona State pitching, and what looked to be the strong suit of the team, being their starting pitchers, no longer appears to be the case, because it feels like there's nothing available for this pitching staff to do right now, as unfortunate as it is. And it doesn't help that the bullpen's not much better either. But clearly the pitching is absolutely failing Arizona State right now, starting and bullpen, and just overall, it's not a great look. Batting wise, your top 4 guys are still batting 300. Ethan Long at 333, Connor Davis 319, Joe Lampe 314, and Sean McClain at 300. You still have good hitters. Unfortunately, they really did not do much in this most recent series. In fact, I think combined from the 4 of them, they had maybe 3 hits in the first 2 games against Oregon State before finding very marginal success in the 3rd game against Oregon State. Overall, ASU baseball really did not show out over these last 7 games. Again, going 3-4 in that stretch, only having 1 winning series against Washington, losing the game to GCU, and getting their butts absolutely handed to them in Corvallis. So that is your quick update on Arizona State baseball. That's actually going to wrap up this edition of the Locked on Sun Devils podcast. Nice, short, sweet, simple, to the point podcast. This week, we're going to be continuing our ranking of the greatest insert position here during this insert decade here for the Sun Devils. We are going to be doing, drum roll, running backs. Starting with the 2010s running backs tomorrow, the 2000s running backs on Wednesday, everything before 2000 on Thursday, and then my top 10 overall running backs on Friday. That's what you'll have to look forward to this week, as well as any updates on Arizona State football spring practice and any Remy Martin and the Kansas Jayhawks update. But until next time, my name is Richie Bradshaw. Thank you guys so much for making Locked on Sun Devils your first listen every day. Remember, this podcast is free and available on all platforms, which includes, but is not limited to, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Odyssey, Spotify. We're also on YouTube if you want to see us in a video format. Go ahead, like, subscribe, follow, comment, share, all that good stuff for the best Arizona State Sun Devils content, football, basketball, baseball, and otherwise, Monday through Friday. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter while you're on the Bird app at RichieBrads36. Follow the podcast as well at LO_Sun Devils. And now go ahead and make your second listen Locked On NFL Draft. Ryan Tracy and former NFL cornerback Eric Crocker bring the NFL Draft to life every day with news and insight on college prospects and NFL front offices. Just like the Locked On Sun Devils, it's free and available on all platforms. And until next time, guys, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.